I'd like to next welcome Anna Matthews from UCISA. She's going to talk to us about the bursary scheme and has brought along with her Will Harris, and he's going to talk to us about a recent conference that he attended as part of the bursary scheme.
Chat, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, well, hello everybody. We're just here to basically give you an overview of the UCISA bursary, which I think quite a lot of you perhaps already know about, and hopefully you've got colleagues in your institutions who have benefited from them. So it's been running for 6 years now, and there's over 80 people who have gone to conferences and represented UCISA at the conference, and then come back and they've shared what they've learned with the sector through blogging, through presentations like this, and through smaller meetings that they've attended. And we've funded a really large number of conferences over the years, from very small ones to really large ones like the EDUCAUSE conference, which is taking place next week. But we thought actually this audience will be most interested in perhaps the technical conferences. But we funded people to attend, for example, very prestigious technology enhanced learning conferences, project and change management, business systems. You name it, we've funded it through a scheme which is, I hope Will agree with me, it's a competitive scheme, but it's not too onerous in terms of filling in the application form. Five is in the post. And we just wanted to sort of start with looking at the one that Will went to, which was NDC Oslo. So to kick off, have you got anything kind of really sort of juicy that you brought back that you're perhaps thinking about implementing at SPA?
Yes, definitely. So my team's a software development team, and one of the things that we do is when we write new code, we need to test it before it goes from development into production. Part of that is running unit tests, so kind of breaking down the code into the smallest testable units, and making sure that when we give it an input, it's giving us the expected output. And we're able to run those unit tests in an automated way, so it's nice and quick. The next level to that is integration testing, so that's when you've got perhaps two services that are talking to each other, like a web application that changes data in a database, and in order to test that web application is working, that's a more manual process. So it involves somebody sitting down and putting the inputs in manually and then checking the data manually. So at one of the talks at NDC Oslo, the speaker showed how to use Docker to speed up the process. So in the talk, the speaker used Docker to pull down an image of a SQL server and then spin that up within a container. And then the test created the database structure, put the test data in, gave some input to the code that was running, and then would check that the data had been updated as expected.
Yeah.
And that's really cool because it's saving the development team a lot of time in integration testing. And all that really needs for us to do is to have the Docker client running on our machine, and then we're able to pull down the image and spin up the container. And we've implemented this in a basic way in one of our newer projects. And what we're interested in doing next is using a framework that Microsoft have written that enables you to interact with Docker in code. So rather than having to manually pull down the image from the Docker repository and spin that up before you run the test, within the test, that's done in the code.
Great.
So that's really interesting for us.
And were you able to implement that quite quickly when you got back from the conference
Yes,
then?
yeah.
Great. So
Yeah.
that's a really positive thing, really. You know, kind of, and that's the thing that I kind of really like to hear, those immediate outputs from someone going along to an event and then bringing something back. Anything else you want to tell us about?
Yeah, I mean, the conference was amazing, and I've brought back a lot of different things like having a more defined approach to breaking down larger applications into microservices, having a more domain-driven design approach to our software development process. But I think the talk that made the biggest impact on me was about the pitfalls of kind of moving towards a more agile way of doing things, and the pitfalls of moving towards DevOps. So in this talk, the focus was on this large body of research that had been done on a wide range of enterprises about what they'd done well when moving to agile and what they'd done badly, and the same with DevOps as well. And the takeaway was basically that technical excellence trumps any kind of process that you try and implement within a team. And it sounds kind of laughable when you say it in a simple way, but what he was saying was that if you want to build quality products and deliver them in a timely manner, the people who are building those products need to be good at their jobs. And that kind of turned things on its head for me, because I was approaching our move into Agile and DevOps as kind of a box-ticking exercise. So we're Agile because we do a daily stand-up, or we work in sprints, and we're doing DevOps because we have a build and deployment pipeline that's partially automated at least. And then after the talk, I came back with the focus on building the team's skills rather than focusing on ticking those boxes. So something that we've implemented recently is having like a library of books written by experts that we're able to take home and read and build on our skills. And we're also hoping to have some budget for training.
I think that's really important, because, you know, I was talking to someone at, I think it was at the reception or at dinner last night, and just saying about how that kind of really trying to shine and sort of celebrate the technical elements. It's very easy, I think, for us within our institutions to kind of, like you say, think we're doing amazingly well. We're really on it because we've got this daily stand-ups. Yeah. But actually, you know, with this sort of stuff, you want to go back to the real detail of the work that you're doing. And so, yeah, I'm pleased to hear that. So, I mean, but it's possible that people in the room already know about this conference. But for those who don't, tell me why you chose NDC Oslo. I mean, how the scheme works is that people can apply to go anywhere, really. The groups, the special interest groups that UCISA have, make recommendations for various conferences, but you're really free to sort of make a case for any of them. So what was it about NDC Oslo in particular?
Yeah, so I've been aware of them for the last 3 years or so, although they've been running since 2008, mainly through their YouTube channel, where they post videos of the various sessions that go on at their conferences. And it's obvious from watching those that it's a very well-run conference, and it's one that has an incredible kind of breadth and depth of expertise there. And the speakers are all very prolific and incredibly good at what they do. And,
so I've just flashed up the selfie that you took. So tell me about this lady here.
Yeah, so this lady is Julie Lerman, and she's very big in the kind of entity framework and Docker communities at the minute. When I started my career in software development, it was in a language called Visual Fox Pro, which Julie was the Microsoft MVP for. So her writing has really helped me develop throughout my career. And to get the opportunity to meet her and to thank her in person for her contribution to my professional development was a real honour. And I don't know if you get it from the photo, but she's a very smiley person, very friendly, and more than happy to take selfies with random British developers. So.
I must admit, I'm very pleased with the On Message UCISA branded
Yes,
T-shirt as well. So, I mean, how did you? I mean, before this year, had you heard of the bursary? How did it sort of happen at Bath Spa that you got to find out about it?
Yeah, sure. So our Director of IT Services, John Beaver, he sent out an email to all IT staff around the time that the application window opened, saying about what the bursary was about and what UCISA's work was as well. And he was really enthusiastic about people in his teams applying for it because he'd been a bursary winner a few years ago, and I think he got to go to the UNIS conference in Sweden. Yeah, so he was really encouraging and enthusiastic.
And I was really pleased when we were chatting about this last week that you said that like he personally had made quite a sort of splash about it at Bath Spa. So like a couple of weeks before you went out, he was emailing people and telling them about the Twitter handle that you have and all the rest of it.
Yeah, that's right. He was almost as enthusiastic about being going as
that's. I mean, and again, that's music to my ears really, because I try and promote the scheme as much as possible, but I think we've got to do it from two directions. You've got to do it to the people that might be going out on the scheme, but also to their line managers and to the senior management team within the universities. So, I mean, I think I've just had the sort of 5-minute warning hand come up. So, I mean, just going to flick through those. One of the things you've talked about is when we've spoken is that you're going to perhaps be talking to people in your local area, so outside of HE. Can you just say a few words about that?
Yeah, sure. So more so in the Bristol area, but Bristol and Bath as well. There's a lot of groups on meetup.com that are focused on software development, .NET development, and my plan is to take a lot of the things that I've learned from NDC Oslo and create presentations that I can then deliver at these meetups. Yeah.
And you know, that's great, because as well what we can do is help you to perhaps work those up into blog posts, and then it's just kind of getting it out even further. So and really for me that's the whole point of the bursary. It's very exciting when people go out to the events, but actually it's and represent UCISA there in the way that you have, but it's also about bringing back the messages that you've learnt to share with other people. So we're kind of coming to the end of the presentation really, because it was only intended to be quite a short one, but I'd encourage you to think about where you might go if we run the scheme next year, and Will and I are both around for the rest of the day if you've got any sort of questions about the bursary scheme. But if we have time, if we could have maybe if there's one question that people want to ask Will about the technical elements of stuff he's learnt at the conference, if there was anything that he's spoken about the Docker presentation or about the technical element of the second thing. Or are we all talked out? Oh, hang on, I've got one right at the back there.
I was just wondering what framework you were using to pull down the Docker images within the code.
So it's called docker.net,
Okay.
and that's by Microsoft.
Cheers.
Matt, would you want to just say about how you've experienced it at Wolverhampton?
For those of you that were here last year, you'll know I'm a really big supporter of the bursary scheme, and I really promoted it internally within Wolverhampton, and one of my team registered interest in applying. So I said, oh yeah, you can apply for this, you can apply for that. He goes, no, I'm going to apply to go to Ignite in Orlando. Really? He goes, I might as well apply for what I really want to go to. And he was successful in getting a place, and he's off to Orlando, I think, early November this year on the bursary scheme, which is absolutely fantastic. As well as promoting the bursary scheme, it's a blatant plug. So my colleague Matt Carter-Ricks, he's going to be kind of raising his profile across the mailing lists via Twitter, because what he wants to do is to try and he will be feeding back to the community the stuff that he's learned through blog posts, Twitter and various other mechanisms. So make sure you continue to follow or start to follow the IG Twitter feed, because you'll start to see reference to Matt. And then please put your questions to him. You know, if there's anything that you really want, you're interested in him finding out at Ignite, he'll do his best to do that for you. So, a very real success story from applying for the bursary scheme.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Anna, and thank you, Will. If you can just give a round of applause, please.